Yo, Rocco B Scotty G. It is Friday night, February 16th, and we are live. This is Pro Football Uncensored. This is Naked Bootleg.
This is a bootleg. Then he comes right back with another bootleg.
I'm Rocco B, the longest reigning heavyweight champion of all time in Louisville, Kentucky, and down in our lovely hometown of Toms River, New Jersey, the stud muffin of all stud muffins, baby. It is Scotty G. How you doing, Scotty?
How you doing?
Oh, baby. We are live. This is our first episode, ladies and gentlemen, of the off-season. The fucking most exciting time for the both of us, unfortunately. And
we got the all 32, baby.
All 32, and we're starting
all 32.
The Super Bowl teams. Okay, we just got done with watching the 49ers and the Chiefs, Super Bowl 58, fresh on everybody's minds. So why don't we get to the fucking Super Bowl teams first, Scotty, and see what they're going to do in the offseason to try and get their asses back to Super Bowl 59. So what do you think? You want to start with the Chiefs and the Niners?
Yeah, let's do it. I just want to let everyone know, though, we're doing this. This is very early. Our minds could change. Our mock is probably going to be different. But this is some knee-jerk reactions, as we like to say.
Knee-jerk. Listen. I'm going to tell you right now, okay? The San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, but I'd say mostly the San Francisco 49ers, have the best roster on paper.
Oh, yeah.
In the league. So what do you think they got to do to get back to the Super Bowl? To me, not much. You got to keep that team intact. And maybe, maybe just make sure you add a couple pieces here and there to a nice, already unbelievable roster as it is. We're not looking at you got to go get Devontae Adams. You got to go get Derrick Henry.
Would help.
Guys. Yeah, but, they are fully loaded at the fucking salary, okay, with what they have. They might have to make some interesting moves with some of the pieces on the roster right now, Scotty. But
I agree.
I don't really want to blow it right now. I'd rather get it going. So let's start with the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. And right now I want to hit Scotty's version of what he believes that the San Francisco 49ers are going to do this offseason. And we're going to pull it up right here. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we're going to look at who they can tag, who they maybe could trade, who they could bring in free agency, and what they should do at the top of the draft in 2024, the last weekend of April. Now, Scotty, I want you to go into...
You want me to run through this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the tag, I ain't got no one really major tags. I mean, I can't wait to hear yours because I couldn't come up with anyone that I thought deserved really a tag for the price it's going to cost.
Sure.
I do think, I know they have like the first round tender. I think they're going to put on Jawan Jennings, wide receiver. And correct me if I'm wrong, that means you can you either give a first round pick or if not, you pay him, which it's like, I think it's like $8 million or something. It's much less than the tag. Am I correct?
Sure. The restricted tender is that you're gonna give them whatever it is at this point, like you said.
I think it's like $8 or $7 million. Yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
And if somebody doesn't match it, then you get them for that deal for 1 year. But the interesting thing is when you tender them based on how much money, like say you only gave them $4 million, and it's a second, third round tender, whatever.
Yeah.
Some other team can swipe in, and come in and say, hey, we're going to sign him to a Christian Kirk type deal. And yeah, we'll give you your second round pick or third round pick and we'll take him. Thank you.
Which I think he's an intricate part of the offense, but there's no one given a first round pick for Jawan Jennings.
So let's do this.
But Jawan, you need to lock him up.
Yeah, you want to lock him up. So let's get to that first. Then let's get to who their unrestricted free agents are before we start, sucking each other's dicks here. let's talk about who they got. Look at this fucking list, Scotty.
Yeah.
This list is unreal for the 49ers.
Yeah, but this list is a lot of underachievers, honestly. Gregory didn't do shit. Young didn't do shit. Clean Farrell had his first like decent year this year, and wasn't he out all the playoffs? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, no, you're wrong. You're right.
So you didn't have him there. I mean, Joseph Day wasn't a huge impact. Kinlaw's been a complete disaster.
Complete disaster. First round bust for sure.
Gibson's been solid. Lieutenant
Gibson.
Ryan. But if you go down here, Feliciano, can I ask you real quick? What's your opinion on that? I know he's got all that bullshit going on.
Yeah, Feliciano and Jalen Carter threatening to murder each other's families. That's what goes on, ladies and gentlemen, on Sundays. Is hey, you talk about my family, I'm gonna talk about yours. And I thought Feliciano, even though they're both fucking head cases, I thought he was right. I mean, real quick, he was, apparently he talked shit about Jalen Carter talked shit first on Feliciano apparently, and then Feliciano decided to bring up the nice little drunk driving crash that Jalen Carter had at the University of Georgia, who killed a teammate. So, it's shit talking, ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty low.
And if everybody remembers, the fucking Philadelphia Eagles got bent over by the San Francisco 49ers. So they were on tilt the whole game. So, but Scotty, here's what we're going to do. So here's the list, right?
Yeah.
I want you to go through the next page here. Is now green is what you think they're going to keep, and red is what you think they're going to get rid of and let go. And here we go. You got a huge fucking sea of red here. Okay. So talk me through that.
Well, like I said, I think a lot of these guys. So, okay, my big thing on this team, they got to find a way to save some money while still getting better. And that's the hardest thing to do in the NFL. I think we agree. But I think at the same time, they can't rely too much on unproven guys. They got to go get some dogs in there that they know can make a difference, because this team has to get over the hump. I mean, at this point, honestly, it's fair to say that Shanahan's going to have some pressure on him, because, and it's a different kind of pressure than McCarthy and Saleh. It's a kind of pressure where he's got to show he can get it done. Otherwise, he's going to be in that kind of Schottenheimer, old Andy Reid kind of conversation where, honestly, it might be a shocking let go after another year or two of not getting it done with this much talent. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, here's the thing. A lot of these guys I don't think were that great. Like I said, a lot of them were underachievers. And Darnold, I'm not even sure he gets locked up, because he might cost a pretty penny as a backup. But they got to have someone as a backup quarterback.
I think he'll stay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he'll stay in California. He's okay with where he's at, I believe.
All right. So now
you got three after
basically,
that,
I mean, there might be one or two more in here. Like, I don't know how much of an impact Givens was. Some of these guys might get kept. Maybe Gibson comes back, but for the most part, I think these are probably the three more important ones.
Then now get to the nitty gritty of now what you think is going to happen once the league year opens up, and and leading up after the combine and into the draft.
I don't think there's any way they can keep Ayuk. Personally, and I've said this to you privately, I would get rid of Debo. He's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player. He is a strong mentality on that offensive side. Problem is, Shanahan sucks this guy off. He loves him some Debo. Yes, I mean, we saw in the Super Bowl, it seemed like the whole offense revolved around Debo.
Yeah, huge.
And when Debo went out against, what was it, the Lions? What game was it that he went out?
Yeah, the Lions, yeah.
It looked like they had no clue for 2 quarters before they could figure out what to do.
Absolutely.
So I just can't imagine Shanahan moving on from Debo, even though that would be my guy, especially when you got a guy like Christian McCaffrey back there. Anyway, Ayuk's already putting these cryptic tweets out, and even though he has a 5th-year option, so, they could probably keep him for $20 million. I think it is the 5th-year option. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to play, because Debo sat out. Nick Bosa sat out.
Now, remember, Debo did the same shit. Remember, Debo swiped all the Niners off. So we'll see.
It's what they do now.
They did the same shit. So we'll see. But I think there's a little smoke with this fire, or a little, fire with this smoke, however you want to fucking say it. I agree with you there. But here's some interesting pieces now you get into with the restructuring. So talk about that.
Well, you got to make some money. You got to free up some money. So Armstead and Trent Williams are two guys that have been there. They're two guys that I think want to get over the hump, and they're two guys that are getting a lot of money. What a lot of people don't understand, though, is when you restructure, it's not like you're saving money. You're not like this great guy that's like, yeah, I'll fork over X amount of millions. You just get it up front. So a lot of guys are willing to restructure, to be honest with you. Yeah. The only thing restructuring really does, and maybe Armstead has a problem with this, is it makes you more vulnerable to be cut the next year or the year after. Correct. Because now there's not as much guaranteed money on your contract. Trent Williams ain't getting cut anytime soon. He will die there as a 49er as long as he's playing the way he's playing. You don't have to worry about shit. And Armstead right now is a key cog because they don't really have a super deep D-line as far as I'm considering, because I got all those guys getting cut.
Sure. Now here's, let me, when I saw this, I said, Joey Bosa from the Chargers. I mean, blows me away that the Bosa brothers would be on the same line. Now, tell me though how that's going to work if
with
Joey Bosa is a very highly paid guy, just like his fucking brother. One of the I believe they're both top 6 or 7 paid DNs in the league.
Yep.
How are you going to do that? And also still potentially have the 2 first-round picks this year. With what it seems like you're trading Ayuk. Ayuk are you sending him anywhere specific? For the first pick.
Ayuk, yes, I have him getting traded to the Houston Texans. I think D'Amico Ryans, the connection there.
Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, they run a similar type of offense.
Yeah.
They got the connection. D'Amico has a relationship. And Houston, I mean, you imagine Ayuk with fucking Stroud?
Man, and they might lose Nico
Fuck out of here, dude.
I know.
I mean, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And a 23rd pick is what Houston Texans got. That is literally right in the wheelhouse.
So 23 and 31.
Yes.
They would have. Okay.
So trading for for Joey Bosa, I'm hoping it would take a 2025 draft pick. Okay. I don't know though. I don't know what do you, let me ask you, Rock, what do you think it takes to get Joey?
I think they'd have to
I don't think it's a first, do you?
I don't know. I think they'd have to flip one of those 2024s. I would almost, I'll tell you what, just thinking about it.
He just hasn't done a whole lot. He hasn't been on the field a whole lot.
I wonder if it just makes more sense to give Ayuk to Harbaugh. What if you just went Ayuk and a 2 or a 3 and you sent him over for Bosa?
You could.
I mean, that would be something, right?
Yeah, you could do that too.
I just don't think there's any way in hell that they can trade for.
I don't know if the Chargers can afford Ayuk though.
On this deal,
they're in some cap. They're in some cap. Help.
It depends, but I'm telling you, I just don't see how they get Joey Bosa.
So the Niners have I think 2 or 3 3s and 2 4s. They got 2 5s. I mean, they could send a 3, a 4, a 5, and next year's 2nd or next year's 1st. I mean, that would be a shit ton, and it would still be a nice get for the Chargers.
Real quick, let's plop this up here. This is the draft picks that the 49ers and the Chiefs both have, okay? And you're talking they got 7 picks. They don't have a 5th rounder, but they got a 4th rounder from the Cowboys last year for Trey Lance.
No, they do. They do. They have I believe they have a 5th rounder so they have extra 3s and 5s. They have like 6 compensatory picks because of guys that have left.
I don't know that I think the calculations are either still going for compensatory or this is what I saw today. 7 picks for the Niners. And then you got KC who also has a pick from Dallas. We'll get to that later. But honestly, man, I mean, with this thing here, if I just don't see how you get 2 first-round picks plus Joey Bosa and then also have the cap to pay for it all, So we'll see. We'll see what they could do. You like them then, let's just say Ayuk goes to Houston and somehow they get fucking Joey Bosa too. You like corner and receiver for the Niners.
Yes.
In the first round.
I think they got to get a corner. So I got expectations of Isaiah Oliver, who was actually handpicked by jerk-off Steve Wilkes, which I'm happy he's fired. I know a lot of people aren't. I didn't like him for that system. I didn't think he utilize the.
Piece of
I
shit.
don't think he called a good defense. Let's say that he might run. He might know how to coach guys. I don't think he called a good field, like when to call the blitz and whatnot. So he handpicked Isaiah Oliver, and when he did, he was supposed to start in the nickel. Didn't work out. So they had to move Lenore, who was their second best corner on the outside, to the nickel, which caused then Ambry Thomas,
Who's brutal.
who started outside. So we don't have on here. I have Ambry Thomas and Isaiah Oliver also getting released, which also frees up some cap. And if you get rid of them, then you gotta go corner. Now I know Purdy was at Iowa State, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Iowa is not the same. I got to imagine if you're out there playing, your boys are playing, you know the people in your area. You know the people that are playing in your rivalries. So John Lynch being a guy that played in the secondary. I mean, this is also the first white boy to get drafted DB in like 20 years or something. Did you see that, by the way? It's crazy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But I mean, this is supposed to be the best corner in the draft. And if they can't get him because maybe he goes earlier, I think Nate Wiggins would be a great runner-up for that first spot. And then I got it their original pick because I have them getting the 23rd and keeping the 31st.
Sure.
They got to go get a wide receiver to kind of help replace Ayuk in the future. So you go get a big body like Keenan Coleman from Florida State University.
Love the guy. I think that would be a huge fucking pickup for the 49ers, especially if they're going to reset the contract with at the wide receiver position when they trade Ayuk. But so basically what you're saying is if we look at this roster, if we look at this depth chart for the 49ers, you also have a couple incoming free agents as well coming in to the 49ers. Let's go back to the first page here real quick. You have KJ Osborne, a receiver coming over from Minnesota.
Yep.
You got Bryce Hall, a corner coming over from the Jets. You got George Fant, tackle coming over from Houston this year. He was a former Jet. And then Kevin Ziegler, who's a guy who's coming off a little bit of an injury. He's a good player with Baltimore. So, I mean, you're locking all these pieces up on offense.
So let me real quick. KJ Osborne, I think Shanahan calls his boy Kirk Cousins and gets some info on him. Also, O'Connell runs a similar style offense. Mm-hmm. Bryce Hall, to me, I think he's going to get scooped up by somebody. I wouldn't have him as a starter. I think he's a great depth guy. And with the 49ers' biggest weakness being secondary, I think he would be a nice fit there. As far as George Fant and Ziegler, I think those are two guys, especially Fant had a good season last year, that are not only coming from similar kind of style offenses, at least Houston's a similar offense. Ravens, at least, it's a guy that can move because you got Lamar behind him. That's where he's coming from, Baltimore. Those are two guys that are legit offensive linemen that I think are going to be affordable. So basically, I'm taking the $20 million I would have given Ayuk and paying two offensive linemen.
Yeah. And again, I don't, that's where I disagree a little bit with the Joey Bosa deal because I don't know how that gets done. But if we look,
so everything you agree with except for how Joey Bosa makes it happen.
I would. I don't know how they do it. But here's the deal with your offense. You have the 49ers have essentially 2 to 3 new starters next year. They replace Feliciano with Ziegler. They could potentially replace McKivitz with George Fant on the right side. George Fant may be their swing tackle. That probably makes the most sense. And then you got also potentially 2 new receivers outside Deebo Samuel, with Keon Coleman and KJ Osborne. Now, I really believe, and I'll get into it when I get into my 49ers deal, is I don't know if this offense needs much tinkering, and that's where we're going to differ, I believe. But if we get to your defense, you have now, look at this defensive line, okay? This defensive line, if somehow they can fucking pull this off, and you have Drake Jackson as kind of like your roaming, pass rusher that comes in when Bosa, the Bosa brothers want to chill, and you have Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead up front. They're going to, load it up a little bit more with the draft, and then you got Hufanga coming back. Damn.
So let me ask you real quick, Rock, and I know this is slightly off topic, but if Joey Bosa doesn't end up there, which I think it's a possibility. He's going to want to go I don't know who's going to pay him what he wants to get paid or take on that contract, I should say.
Yeah.
Without some type of connection. And there's a lot of rumors going around that Staley is going to be possibly the DC for the 49ers. So it's a guy who worked with them.
Sure. And now I love how you tie that together and everything. And that makes complete sense. It's just, I don't know if it makes sense with the money.
Yeah.
And honestly, with Staley, if I'm a 49ers fan, I'm not excited to get Brandon Staley. And what did he do with the Chargers defense?
No, I'm not excited at all. But where do you think Joey Bosa goes if he doesn't go there?
Bosa, if I had to guess, number one, he's going for where someone can pay him. He's not taking a pay cut. He's not, whatever. I think the Niners would be the only place he would go to take a pay cut. I just don't know if they can do it. But I would say, we always look at, these guys love going home, right? So I'd look at Cincinnati. I'd look at maybe even Cleveland. Now, I think they got a lot of money in Garrett, and they got a lot of money in Zadarius Smith.
Could you imagine Bosa and Garrett, though?
But I'll tell you, I could see him going back to Ohio. So those could be a couple plays there for him, a couple teams. Now, with this defense, there's a couple, starters that you have not coming back. Oren Burks at linebacker, to Sean Gibson at free safety. I think Gibson played well enough to come back. It's just now everyone's talking about maybe he's going to retire. I don't know. They do need help at corner. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is. They got to get Ambry Thomas off the field though, for sure. But this is something, man. This is the 49ers, how Scotty sees them right now, February 16th. Of course, shit's going to change, but this would be Scotty G's perfect perfect look at what the 49ers
I think it would help put him over the top.
Yeah.
You put another, an actual stud on the other side of Nick Bosa, assuming he'll probably even play more, that his brother's there, and you shore up the secondary a little bit. Yep. And you don't have you're bringing a veteran and a rookie wide receiver, and the rookie has the potential to maybe take it to that next level, but he's going to be cheap.
Yeah. All right, let me get into it now. Let me get the Niners up here for me. You can't tag anybody here. Okay, because
too much, right?
They don't have anybody that's worth it. Okay, the only guy that you can maybe consider, and it wouldn't make any sense, would be Chase Young. And you're not paying that guy $32 million a year.
No way. I think
it's
doing
20.
That. I think it's like 20 or something, but no.
So you can't do it, right? So I don't think they're tagging anybody. Now they got two trade pieces you can look at. Do you want to trade Brandon Ayuk in his fourth year coming up? You have the ability. He's only making $14 million, but you got the ability to go trade him, get something back before you have to pay him for the fifth year and all that. That could be an option. Then they also have, if you really think about it, Scotty, what have the San Francisco 49ers been known for since Kyle Shanahan has taken over, besides blowing it in big games?
Misdirection. I don't know. Running the ball.
Backs.
Running the ball.
Making their running backs look like studs. And this time they got a real stud. Took them a big trade, and it took them a lot of money. But they got CMC, right? But Eli Mitchell looked pretty damn good when he was playing.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy, though.
These guys that they can put back there, remember, Terrell Davis, 6th-round pick. These guys in a Shanahan system, Mike fucking Anderson, and, you can go on and on. Reuben Drones, all these guys with Denver that looked amazing in the system, they were nobodies, right? So here's the thing. You got to really look hard and fucking feel hard, if you will.
Oh,
yeah. About fucking maybe getting rid of CMC, right? So there's something there. I wanted to see in free agency if there's going to be this splash. Holy shit, they got Javon Hargrave like they did last year, right? I want to see if there's a potential for that somewhere for them. And in the draft, I believe they need an edge rusher, and I believe they need a receiver. Because if you look at this list, like we showed before, my list sure as hell does not look as red as Scotty's, but it is still pretty red. I think you got to bring back Darnold. You got to bring back Jawan Jennings. He showed you now that he's taking the next step in the fucking Super Bowl, right? Feliciano is one of the top-rated guards in the league. You got to bring him back, even if it's just a short-term deal. Chris Conley's another guy, plays special teams. He can also he shows up in moments when he's out there. I'd take him back too. Charlie Warner is one of the best backup tight ends in the league. And then Sebastian Joseph Day will come back on a cheap deal. I'll guarantee it. And so will Gibson if he doesn't retire. But I think all those other defensive linemen, like we said earlier, big, huge fucking busts. I would
Huge.
bring him back. Okay. Logan Ryan was the guy who gave it the Super Bowl. I don't know why he was on the team. He's about 2 years past his fucking prime. And if you look at Flanagan Fowles and fucking Burks at linebacker, PFF rates them as some of the worst linebackers in the league. So I'm not taking them back. Ray McLeod does not do what he does with his speed for this team. He's not worth the money. And Ross Dwelley is a guy that can go somewhere else. Now, I do agree with you, Scotty. I think you got to trade Brandon Ayuk for a first-round pick. It saves you $14 million. And this is the time to do it, right? I think he's a phenomenal guy. You know that. I think he's one of the top receivers in the game. I just don't think that it makes sense for him to be on the 49ers. I could see doing Armstead's deal. You gotta do Trent Williams for sure. And I think you got to do Kittle for sure. Kittle's like a $21 million cap hit. You have to fix that. You have to fix that, especially if you're going to throw to the fucking guy 3 times in the Super Bowl. Okay. So they got to fix that. I think the splashes they make in free agency are not even nearly fucking as close as they were with the Javon Hargrave deal last year. I think they bring in Sheldon Rankins, who is one of a nice little stud, former first-round pick, former Jet as well.
Yeah.
And then
for
they
the
bring
Jets
back
and the Saints. He's pretty good.
and the Saints. And then he was just with Houston last year. You're going to tell me that they don't regret letting Azeez Al-Shaair go last year to go to Tennessee? No, he's coming back. He signed a 1-year deal with Tennessee, didn't fucking light the world on fire. He's going to come back. Okay? And then in the first round, since you trade Brandon Ayuk for a first-round pick, I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I love your Houston take. I think he fits there. But I'm going to tell you, I think they need edge help. They're not bringing back Chase Young, Kinlaw, Gregory are all gone. So I like this kid, Braylon Trice out of Washington.
Okay.
Unbelievable motor. He played great in the fucking college football playoff. Played great in a bowl game 2 years ago. Chop Robinson from Penn State. I don't think you can go wrong there too. You could probably get him.
Robinson.
You could probably get him at 31, not the Ayuk pick, I think, but you get him. I love the receivers though. Adonai Mitchell from fucking Texas. He came from Georgia. Unreal. He reminds me of CeeDee Lamb. I would grab him in a heartbeat. Or you can go get Julio Jones in fucking Keon Coleman.
Which one of those receivers you like better? Right now. We got a lot to see. You got combine, all kinds of shit.
You can toss it up. I'd take Coleman because he's longer. And he's longer and stronger. I usually take that. And he's got beautiful hands.
Oh yeah, you definitely take the long and strong at the
So that's where I go there. I would probably go if you could get lucky and get Trice and Coleman in this draft. I think they're back to the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. Now my offense doesn't look much different from what they did last year. I believe they changed one piece. They changed the receiver on the other side of Deebs. I think they should stick with their line. You stick with the backfield. You got to keep, like I said, you got to bring back Juwan Jennings. He showed he can do a huge.
How did McKivitz play? Because I don't agree with the whole thing of having him start over Fant. So I don't think he's fantastic, but you don't have the money. You just don't have the money. But if in my scenario, I think if they got Fant, he's starting because they're paying him probably $11 million.
And they got to get. I think they got to get a swing tackle that is reliable.
Got it.
And they might do that in the draft, but I don't think they have the money to bring these guys in. I'd rather pay $11 million to Rankins, to be honest. And then you get on defense. I love this kid, Mike Sainers, still out of Michigan. He used to be a receiver. Now he's a corner. I think you get him in the 3rd round. He would be a perfect replacement for Ambry Thomas. And you let Lenore kind of go. If Lenore's your number 2, fine. If you want Lenore in the slot, go ahead. I think Sainers still will be fantastic in the slot, though. But when you have Hufanga coming back, I think Deshaun Gibson comes back. If you have Al-Shaair, the fucking linebackers look like 2020 all over again. And then you get to that D-line. And, if you can bring in Rankins, bring back Joseph Day, and then you get one of these rookies that's fucking going to play with their hair on fire on the outside, I don't know how the 49ers don't get back to the Super Bowl, Scotty. So, it's all going to be about they got to take advantage of the fact that they're paying Brock Purdy $980 fucking grand. That's it. That's what this is all about. That's why you can't make the changes. You can't really go crazy because you already had the team. So by fucking with their chemistry, by fucking with their camaraderie and the way that they play the game, just think about it. I think in both Super Bowls with the Chiefs and the Niners, it was a couple play calls. It's a couple play calls. So,
yeah, but it wasn't. You didn't get it done. So I think they're going to be pressured to get in. A couple things real quick. I just want to go over with your stuff, and then we'll move on to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a cold day in hell before they trade Christian McCaffrey. Their families have a personal relationship, and Shanahan made it such a big deal about going to get him. The kid could suck next year. I don't think he's getting traded.
Yeah.
Couple other things we didn't really talk about. So, like, one of the reasons why I had a lot of those receivers not coming back, and I saw that you did, is because there's two names that we don't have on our list on the depth chart that I think step up and become pretty solid players. One is Ronnie Bell. He's on the receiving corps. I think Ronnie Bell steps up. Okay. And then the other guy is Danny Gray. We didn't see a lot of Danny Gray this year. Him and Purdy, they had a great connection in preseason stuff the previous year. He's a burner down the field. I mean, he could turn out to be dog shit, but if he steps up, I think he could be a valuable piece. Sure. And then I just wanted to say one thing. We keep talking about Ayuk, and I know maybe people watching at home might say, there's no way. I just want to correct you on one thing. Ayuk's going into his 5th year. Last year was his 4th year. So he has to sign his 5th year option. I mean, well, I guess he doesn't have to sign it. They already approved his 5th year option. So he's going into his 5th year option, which is going to be $20 million, whatever it is. I believe it's $20 million.
He's already been in the league 4 years.
Yes, and that's why I think they have to get rid of him now, because that's a massive cap hit. And I don't think he's going to play on his 5th year option. I think he's going to want a big deal, in my opinion. And he's going to look at what everyone else did. He's going to say, okay, well, Debo held out, Bosa held out, and they got paid, so I guess I should hold out too. It's almost like the 49ers set a bad precedent by paying those guys.
Yeah, holy shit. I did not realize that he is already.
Yeah, he's on his 5th.
Unbelievably, he's in his 5th year. Wow.
You were moving and grooving, so I didn't want to stop you. But
that's even more of a point, like you said, for them to do it.
But I like it, Rock. Wow. It makes sense. My Joey Bosa is more of a pipe dream, because I think the Staley and whatever, I think it's going to get crazy. Yeah. But I agree with most of your shit there.
You got to imagine Staley is going to be the DC, and I just don't know if I'd feel good about that as a fucking
terrible idea.
And listen, you fucking asshole Niners fan, listen, it's the closest you're going to get to me wearing a fucking San Francisco 49ers jersey. My fucking TO Dallas Cowboys jersey, you assholes.
I wouldn't respect you if you put Niners gear on.
So
I wouldn't respect you.
You know? And if he didn't come out and play his ass off with the Cowboys for us, I wouldn't have never been able to forgive fucking T.O. for doing what he did when he was a Niner in Texas Stadium, that son of a bitch. But I'll tell you what, he got my respect. Okay, but yes, you'll never see me wearing a 49ers jersey. You'll never see me wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey, and you'll never see me wearing a New York Giants jersey. That's it.
Apparently not a Kansas City Chiefs jersey either.
Well, I'm not, I got it over here. I got Priest Holmes waiting for me. But I think the fucking viewers here have been seeing me too much in a Chiefs jersey at this point. So
they're gonna think you're a Chiefs fan. You don't want that.
I don't want that. Believe me, most of our videos you're seeing me in a goddamn Chiefs jersey. I don't want that. So all right, baby. So let's get to the Niners. Or excuse me, the Niners. What
the Chiefs? In the Chiefs.
Let's get to the fucking Chiefs. Scotty Boy. This is Scotty Boy's Chiefs. Okay. He wants to tag. And he wants to trade, and he wants to bring in some guys, and he wants to draft.
Look at this fucking name, first off. Legit, like, ooh.
It's sexy to me.
Legarius, right?
Legarius
is really what it is.
It's it's Legarius.
Legarius.
Because that little fucking apostrophe tells you it's La. Okay?
This is a motherfucker French, or what is he? I don't know.
He's a wonderful player, though. But go ahead. Tell me what the Chiefs are going to do.
Okay. So I got Snead. I mean, I just saw an interview recently with Spags, and he was saying how this has literally been like his greatest unit ever. Now, he could be just saying shit because that's the unit he's on right now. I don't know. But he seemed pretty passionate about it. And I can agree. It's probably one of the best teams he's ever coached on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. So with that being said, I think you got to keep this guy. He's been a stud. And I don't think he's worth a big contract. I don't think you can afford a big contract. And I don't know exactly what the tag is. I don't even know if they can really afford the tag. But I'm tagging this motherfucker if I can. In free agency. You want me to just move over to free agency here, brother?
Well, hold on a second. Yeah, it's going to be about a $22 million tag. But let's go into what their free agents look like. It's another fucking huge list. And like we said, Scotty Boy is going to either keep him and put him in green, or he's going to say, pack your fucking bags in the red, and this is what he's got now. With the blue is the tag as well.
Got it. Okay, so you see they gotta keep Chris Jones, and I look. I know Chris Jones. You saw him. You heard him drunk the other day saying he's not going nowhere.
Yeah,
I think they get the deal done. I mean, I could even see him doing another 1-year deal. I just don't see this motherfucker not being a Chief during them trying to get a 3-peat. They're trying to perform a menage a trois or fucking Super Bowls here. So they're trying to make it happen. I can see him at least even doing another 1-year deal if that's what it's going to take. Snead, I obviously got on the tag. Willie Gay, I think, is an intricate part of the team.
Willie Gay, just Willie Gay.
Willie Gay. Jarek McKinnon. I mean, don't you agree? Dude, he looked like they got juice back when he got on the squad, right?
I know. It's just he's getting older. He's gotten so many injuries.
They got no love for the fucking lawn jockey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, though. No love for him.
No, he's got to go. Yeah.
So, Miko Harmon, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're at a fucking void of wide receivers. And this guy just basically he had a good game in the Super Bowl. I don't know how you get rid of him. And they seem to like him. He's a young kid, too. He's only 25 years old. So I think an offseason where they use him more of a wide receiver could be massive for him. Mm-hmm. Richie James is dog shit. Blake Bell, I don't know. Tommy Townsend, this kid was fucking bombing balls in the Super Bowl. Yeah. All playoffs, he was bombing balls. And he's like got that hair and shit. You got to bring this kid back.
Oh, he's coming back. You're exactly right. Now, you're going to say tag and Snead. It's going to be anywhere between 20 to 22. Just depends on, they take the aggregate of all these fucking contracts.
Yep.
You want Chris Jones to – now, you're saying you don't want him to a long-term deal. You want him to almost a – would you take him in a long-term, or do you think they're just only going to do 1 year?
I would take him in a long-term deal, as in long-term as in I would give him like a 3 to 4 year deal.
Sure, yeah.
Which for him is long-term because he's older.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying if they can't even come to agreements on that,
you're bringing him back.
I think this is one of the rare occasions that the vet says, fuck it, I'll do one more 1 year deal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, this is huge, man. I saw this and I said, whoa, we're number one. I could
hope to not be more wrong in this situation. Because if this happens, we're in a fucking world of trouble here in the AFC.
It's a 3-peat, no doubt about it. That's what it is.
I think they got to go get a veteran wide receiver.
Oh,
now they got to find a guy. Here's a guy. They got to go find a guy who is a vet, who's reliable, who's looking to win now, and maybe won't try to rob the bank because he wants a chip.
Yep.
Now, I think the best move, and I don't think they can afford it, and I don't think it's possible, would be go get T. Higgins because you weaken your enemy while strengthening your own team. I don't think it's possible, though.
A lot of money.
Mike Evans is the guy that you could probably get away with, even giving him a 1 or 2 year deal. They say you give him a 1 year deal for like 15 mil, 12 mil.
Yep.
I know it's not cheap, but
you can give him incentives. Hey, bro, hit your fucking another 1,000 yards.
We'll give you 12. You do this. You get another 3 to 4 million. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be wonderful. That would be fucking unreal.
Insane, dude.
I don't think Fletcher Cox really has anything left, but I know why you did it, and it makes sense.
Fletcher Cox, I don't think wants to retire from what he's saying.
Yeah.
So someone's going to give him a shot. I could see Reed rotating him in with Chris Jones. Yeah. And then the Tyron Smith, to me, he's on his last couple legs here. He wants to go somewhere where he can win.
Yeah.
They have a need. He has a need.
Yeah.
I think he takes a discount and goes plays with a champion.
We all got needs,
Yeah, we all got needs.
We all got needs, and Tyron Smith would be a perfect matchup with the Chiefs. I think I love that. And then now, what do you think they're doing in the first round? You think they're getting the Kelsey replacement, huh?
So I think they need to get a receiver. I think they need to get offensive line. But you get Mike Evans, you get Tyron Smith. That hits 2 of those 3 needs. The other thing I think they have to get, so I think you were about a year off, maybe 2 years off. I think Kelsey's got 1, maybe 2 seasons left.
Yeah, I didn't think of the 3-peat possibility.
I know. I'll give you the fucking mulligan on this guy. But you got to get someone in there, and I just don't think it's possible to get high enough to get Brock Bowers. This kid's supposed to be a stud. He grew up and played just 2 hours away from where Mahomes is from where Mahomes played. I'm sure he's got some intel on this kid. He's supposed to be phenomenal. I don't know a ton about him. I know just watching some clips, he's got good size. He's big on getting up to the ball, and he can block.
Yeah, he can play. He can play. He's got a little bit of an injury bug, a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that at the end of the first round, that's where you do it. I'd love to be able them to wait another round, to maybe get.
I just don't know if they can get him at the back of the second.
You're right. You're
absolutely so. They could trade up in the second, but they could also trade up in the second and go get an offensive lineman, go get a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think if they really like this kid, you got to get him before the end of the first.
Yeah, and you know how valuable that first round pick is with the 5th-year option. Now look at your fucking Kansas City Chief offense. Look at the changes. You got Tyron Smith now anchoring that left side of that line.
Jesus Christ.
Which would be beautiful. All pro Joe Tooney, left guard. You got a great center, Creed Humphrey. You still got another great guard in Trey Smith. And I think Jawan Taylor sucks. I don't know how the hell they made that move for him swapping out Orlando Brown. I think that was one of the worst moves they could have made. But you got Jatavian Sanders now going right behind Kelsey. They could probably use a lot of 2 tight end sets. And then look at that other receiver. Holy shit. You got Mike Evans on the other side. If they don't repeat with this roster,
I do think Sky Moore though probably gets the boot.
He sucks. They're going to let him.
I think Sky Moore gets the boot. Watson's been solid. Hardman and is solid obviously in times. MVS is like I would keep him as a vet right now. You don't have enough to move on from him.
Yeah. So then you go to the defensive side, right? And now you're going to take a hit probably on the inside a little bit with Cox.
You got a Gay outside linebacker. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Gay and Cox, right? So you got a Gay Cox going on, and then my boy Charles Omenihu moves up.
I love how you put him on there.
Moves up from third string to first string. Look at that motherfucker.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't think this through fully. Like I didn't come up with the whole 53-man roster, but I do think you got to start someone over Cox. Cox got to be a rotational piece. You can't have him starting on the D-line.
So, then maybe they keep
that could be a draft pick, though. Second, third, fourth round. I don't know.
First round draft pick, Felix Enudike Uzama from their last pick last year. Didn't play much, but he played a little bit in the playoffs and showed a little bit. He'll be that rotational piece.
Got a little something in the basement, that kid.
On the edge, a little bit. And then this linebacking core, Willie Gay. You got Willie Gay coming back with Nick Lightning Bolton, who's one of my favorite players. We called that on the podcast a couple years ago.
You did.
Leo Chanel then would insert himself into the starting lineup, which I think he should. He's a good player. And then they keep their whole secondary. Their whole secondary stays. That's huge. Okay. Absolutely huge.
Well, another thing that's huge is Spags was talking about. They didn't lose a single fucking coach. Not one.
No, and then they're probably going to bring Bieniemy in too. Bieniemy's probably going to come.
I agree. I think Bieniemy's going to come in and he'll probably just be there till fucking Reed retires.
Unbelievable, with what the Chiefs have. They have it all lined up for the fucking coming up.
Hey, you getting nervous? You getting scared over there?
A little bit. I mean, I don't like it. But here's mine, right?
Oh boy!
I look at the Chiefs, right, and I said, all right, you got 2 tag possibilities. You got Chris Jones. You got L'Jarius Sneed, the Frenchman. I don't understand.
Real quick. Are you sure Andy Reid or Mahomes isn't allergic to nuts? Because that bag of nuts is all you're gonna fucking get for Kadarius Toney over there. You got a bag of fucking nuts is all you're getting for that jerk off.
All right, I like the organic, but I don't like the unsalted.
You better get a list of their fucking allergies over there.
Give a shit what you can get. I don't care if you get an equipment manager to come over from another team. Get this guy off the fucking roster.
Joe Douglas makes his first move of the offseason and trades a first rounder for Kadarius
Toney back to New York where he had so much success. Yeah, fuck. But let's just get to the free agents first, shall we? I think they got to keep the main dudes in the house. And they got to get younger and cheaper at a lot of different positions. And I think they got to draft wide receiver or defensive tackle. You look at the fucking huge list. We already went over it. What I believe they got to do is I got the reverse. I want them to tag Chris Jones. I think he's got 1 year left. You got to pay him and eat it, right? But I think you got to take him with the tag. You got to sign the younger stud muffin Sneed to a long-term deal. Drew Tranquil is one of the better linebackers in the league. I think he's a much better player than Willie Gay. I think they're going to let him go. Nick Allegretti did a great job at guard during the playoffs.
Damn, you got Hardman on the block.
So I think
cut.
Hardman's going to go. Of course, they got to keep Townsend, a wonderful punter. I think they got to get cheaper. Okay, and here's the big thing. If you tag Jones, right, you got to get him at $32 million. That's a fucking huge hit, right? But you get rid of Tony, $3 million, right? Again, I don't give a shit what you give me back. 7th round pick, who cares? I'm saving the $3 million, getting this guy out of the building. But I also know that I have to restructure some deals.
Yeah, I agree with that, by the way, which I didn't have on mine.
$36 million, you got to restructure. They did it all the time with Romo. They're doing it. They did it with Dak. You just got to restructure, right? Same thing with Jawan Taylor. His is like a $24 million cap. You got to get that down, okay? But you got to take Snead. You got to sign Snead to a 4 or 5 year deal. And then I think you got to draft either a defensive tackle or a receiver in the first round. My receivers, I love Adonai Mitchell and Keon Coleman. But the defensive tackles, Byron Murphy from Texas is a fucking stud muffin. And Chris Jenkins' son from Michigan can go all over the place. Okay.
His name's Chris Jenkins?
Yes. So, so you got, that would be a great piece for Andy Reid. And here's the funniest part.
I agree with that.
I could not take the bait here. I had to take the opportunity to say in the second round, they're going to draft their next left tackle. I don't think I would love them to bring in Tyron Smith. I ultimately think Tyron Smith comes back to the Cowboys. But here's what happens. They're going to draft Dominic Puny out of Kansas. The reason why I was so excited to say this is for 2 reasons.
He seems like a big guy.
Dominic Puny ain't a fucking puny guy. He's 6'5", 320-pound redshirt senior, fucking mangling and embarrassing people at Kansas, right? But also, look who this puts him next to. This puts him next to the All-Pro Joe Thuney. So now you got Puny and Thuney on the left side of the line. I couldn't fucking stop myself.
I didn't know where you were going with it until you said
Puny and Thuney, okay? You go on the left side, you look at the line, they got Puny and Thuney. But look at this offense I got right here, Scotty. There's one change. One other than the rookie left tackle. If you're going to start another receiver at rookie, either Mitchell or Coleman, you have now essentially the same offense with a rookie left tackle and maybe a rookie receiver that might not even start. So very, 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 very similar. You bring the guys back you need to bring back. On defense is where same thing. I don't know really where you change it much. I got rid of Willie Gay, inserts fucking Leo Chenal into the starting lineup. And, you're going to re-sign Jones. Murphy or Jenkins is going to be drafted on the defensive line. And you keep your secondary intact. That's what they got to do. Now, would I love them to go get a Mike Evans? Fuck yeah. Would I love them to go get, someone like that? I just think that with a guy like Mike Evans, what he gives you now, he's going to be, he's mid-30s. He's done it for his whole fucking career. You know what he's going to get, but you got to pay him. You got to pay him that 12, 15 million.
I think Patrick Mahomes would rather fucking pay out of his pocket the next year or 2 contract than not have another receiver. He'll restructure whatever the fuck he can. I mean, I just don't know. And look, I love what you said here, and I don't disagree. And these are just our opinions. You could be 100% right. I just can't see how this team goes into next year, not only with themselves, but even with the backlash from the public of being like, we're not going to have a receiver that can catch the fucking ball. Like, you're just hoping that Rice takes another step and that maybe a rookie can step up. Like, how you go into that? Because people forget there was a point in the season when Deron Bland had more fucking touchdowns than any fucking receiver.
Unbelievable.
On the Kansas City Chiefs.
I know. And that's what I'm saying, though. It's like if they can do it all with no one, essentially. Last year, they did it with Juju. This year, they did it with what? Hardman, as far as their big piece. Now I know they injected Rashee Rice
I
into
know,
the.
but I think a lot of things went their way, Rock. If they get some injuries,
I
mean,
go get a guy. Go get maybe 2 of them. You can get them in the draft. And
I mean, now I can
half
see
of Evans's fucking salary.
Now I can agree with you if you say, hey, they're going to go get like a DJ Shark or I don't know, one of these fucking guys that's like unproven, or like even like I think Elijah Moore, like a guy like that that's like not really done a whole lot, but they're an okay receiver. If you're like, hey, they're going to go get one of those guys at least, maybe I back off on this thought. But to go into the offseason, which being like with the exact same receiving core minus jerk off Tony and maybe jerk off Sky Moore and just having an extra 1 or 2 rookie receivers, I can't see it happening. I can't see how Mahomes would let it happen.
Yeah. I'm telling you. I mean, I liked where we both were there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, a lot of things could change from now to then.
Because we've already seen that you can finagle money any way you want.
I know, and that's why like even with the Joey Bosa thing, I try not to get too hung up on the money, because I feel like for every team that says they got no cap room, they find. I mean, bro, we were just talking about 2 years ago. The Saints were the worst cap situation in history. They go out and pay fucking Derek Carr fucking $40 million.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. We just talked about with the 49ers with Javon Hargrave. I mean, it's the same thing. How do you fucking bring that guy in?
No idea.
So it's doable. It's just the fact is that I don't believe when you're a Super Bowl team, you have the Eagles really fucked up, right? Because their roster didn't change that much.
Defense did.
But they left their coordinators out. Both coordinators left the same year.
Yeah, I give you that.
Huge, right? So, the Chiefs didn't lose anybody, and the Niners are probably, even though Staley sucks, he may have a better voice than what they wanted to, for what they wanted than Steve Wilkes gave them this year, right?
Staley is terrible, though. I think it's such a bad move. If they do that, that's a really bad move.
But yeah, I'm telling you, man, I don't see how. I hate to say this because, if you think about the Buffalo Bills of the 90s, making it 4 straight years and then they played the Cowboys 2 years in a row, I just don't see how you can count these 2 teams out again next year. I just don't, because everyone's coming back basically. And unless, of course, what's the biggest thing that stops a team from going back to the Super Bowl the next year? Generally, it's either coaching changes or injuries. So, we can't tell the injuries yet.
And Rock, to be honest with you, it's hard to count out the Chiefs because of Mahomes. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
But on the other side, and this is no disrespect to the Cowboys or anybody, it feels like it's the Niners, and then there's a gap before you get to everybody else.
It's a huge gap,
even with their flaws.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a huge gap. I don't believe, unfortunately, in Jared Goff to get it done. I know Detroit was close. I know Detroit ended up being in the championship game, and they outlasted everybody and all that. Fine. I don't trust Jordan Love. So I don't think the Packers are going to do it. I don't trust Dak Prescott. I don't trust fucking Mike McCarthy. I think Mike Zimmer's a hell of a hire. We'll get to that at some point.
Philly seems like a disaster right now.
It's bad. So the NFC, you got to pick somebody.
AFC's a little different, though. You got Joey Burrow coming back.
Philadelphia's falling down.
The AFC's different, though. You got Joey Burrow coming back. You got Aaron Rodgers coming back. You got maybe Josh Allen could turn the team around if they get some shit pieces.
What about the Chargers?
Chargers could turn around. I mean, fuck. Even if the Raiders get the quarterback right, who knows?
You're always going to have Baltimore, okay? And then what if
sounds like a bird or something?
A bird. You're going to have Cleveland with Mr. Masseuse if he can get his ass off the table. Like, I think the AFC is so fucking loaded that just imagine if the Chiefs even just get to the Super Bowl next year again. I mean, it would be incredible.
So, real quick too, I want to tell you this for AFC. I don't know if this is true. I read this on the internet. I didn't follow up to see if it's factual, but I'm going to tell you right now. Supposedly, the odds of Russell Wilson playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers went from plus 1,400 to minus 110.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true. This is what I read on the internet.
Wow.
Internet has lied to me plenty of times before.
Let's get
I
to
cannot research it.
when we get to Pittsburgh. They got a lot of decisions to make, and in old fucking
That would be huge.
Tiny Hands Pickett, I think, has got Puny Pickett has got, I think, his hands full, if you will, with this next season. But I thought this was good. Chiefs Niners. We're gonna do this for every team, every fucking team this year. We're going deep. We're gonna go deep with every team this year, and of course, we told you we're gonna do separate episodes with the Jets and the Cowboys because, my God, we can do that for 2 hours apiece. But for the first show, for the first two teams, the Super Bowl teams, I thought we did pretty damn good. And Scotty, what do you think, man? I think we did all right.
I thought it was good, man. I mean, we got our shit out there. There wasn't a whole lot to go over. I mean, we've been discussing these teams for the last 4 weeks.
I know. I can't wait to get into after we get done with the teams and we get ready for the league year to open up. We're gonna fucking mock because I mean, check this shit out. Like we could do shit like this, where because I know we do a ton of them, all the time. Let me pull it up here. I mean, I don't know what you're pulling up. Well, I gotta figure it out. But I'm saying when we do mocks, right? What we could do is we could end up saying, all right, let's do the mock, right? Let's save this as like, let's see. All right. Well, I'll have to do it at some other.
That was very interesting that you came up with that.
So we could do our mocks. I fucking plop it up here.
There's some teaser, Rock. That's some teaser we got.
Wait, I mean, it's gonna be fucking fantastic. It's gonna be huge. Okay,
it's gonna be phenomenal.
But we'll do that. We'll do our mocks. We'll put them up here. Everyone can see them. And we did,
and then we'll follow along on the real draft.
Yeah, absolutely. When
we should do a live show during the draft.
That would probably be wonderful if I had to.
At some point,
yeah,
maybe like. I don't know, maybe like 8 through fucking 20 or something.
Yeah.
Or when did the Cowboys pick?
24.
Maybe 8 through 25 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm done. I think you're done. And by the time we get back to you guys, probably either Sunday or Monday, we're gonna hit another 2 teams, and we're gonna do the same kind of format. Basically, we're gonna give you everything we think they're gonna do in the off season before this even league year kicks off. And then we get in the draft season and free agency season. So
just make sure you like and subscribe. And subscribe.
You want the comments. There's some
comments. Talk to us, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait. Once we do more, we'll do more with the live and everything. But if the comments keep coming, like they have been on our videos, that's the shit that we really enjoy. So and man, there's a ton of fucking Dak lovers around this country that I did not think existed. But all right, baby. So for Scotty G, this is Rocco B saying see you later and sayonara.
Adios, motherfuckers.